And the reason we even reached out or even have a relationship with Navio is because himself, he's a bit disruptive, all right? When it comes to the music,
Yes,
when
sir.
it comes to the vibe that he brings onto stage, we said, oh my goodness, Navio is the perfect fit for Energy Radio, and likewise as well. So I would say that is exactly why we are a part of Navio's 20 years in the making.
Hope you're well. DJ Kathy, you're in class. Thank you. Hello, sir. Yeah. So we have the myth here, and I just wanted, take your time. I'm not gonna give you 1 minute. Who am I? You know. So take your time and tell us a little bit experience with Navio. Who is Navio? First, all the everything he did in the corridors. This is the time to tell the world. Hey, but it's good to have you, man.
Good to be here, guys. Thank you so much for coming through today. We hope to see more of this, more support leading towards this concert. 20 years of this gentleman, Navio. What to say, man? I have so many stories. I don't know the right ones in a space like this.
Whoa. You should tell me Navi is threatening the guy.
Like, I don't know which ones to say, but just to be short, because people's time. I mean, we've had moments where it's you're traveling by bus for 24 hours across the continent, country to country, flights, whatever it is, and we have bonded and worked on stuff. Constant workaholic. We were going to Nairobi. There was some sweet evening tea in the morning, if you understand. And he wanted to write music. I don't know why. But yeah, just constant workaholic, and it has translated, 20 years consistent, making hits consistently. I don't know, 6 albums? And those are the ones that are out here. 3 with clear cuts. There's some that are unreleased from battles. I have seen the progress from just battle rapper to this brand here, and just happy to be here and support in any way that I can. Yeah, that's it. That's
Thank you so much. I would say.
What's your favorite Navio song?
All right. What's your favorite Navio song?
Trouble. Trouble.
Oh, the award-winning song from the Pride album.
Who forced you to shoot it?
Yes.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yes.
Now we know who forced Navio to shoot the video. Thank you so much, The Myth, for blessing us.
Thanks,
and The Myth has a brand new video, Cheers. I like it, so go out there. I think it's in the same line with our concert. It's, cheers to the people that have been there, that are there. We celebrate this moment. I don't know if it was intended, but when I listened to it, I was feeling like this is just perfect for 20 years of Navio. Right, so, we're here, and we love to be here for things like this. Once again, I'd like to shout out to Hennessy, Talent Africa Group, Stanbic Bank, FlexiPay, Kampala Sheraton Hotel.
A hectic landscape. Sometimes it's hard to, buckle down and, decide what you're going to be a part of. So just the fact that you're here on the journey with me, I really appreciate it. So thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you to the media. You guys have been with me since DV8. Yes, behind the scenes, some of you have footage which you shouldn't release, and keep it that way. Some of you have footage that you have released now. Thank you guys so much for your influence as well as media. Thank you to all the team that's been behind the scenes as well. Everyone who's ever supported me, NavCorp, Talent, all the people who made me what I am. Thank you so much. Clear Cut in the building, definitely. And of course my ghostwriter, Count Machula as well, who's in the building. Thank you guys so much. Code, I see all the guys who are putting in work, and I really appreciate the industry as it stands right now. So thank all of you guys. My name is Rubwama Daniel Chikozi. I'm an artist who started off 10 years old, was the first time I was ever in the studio. I was produced by some unknown producer called Steve Jean. He was an intern at Bava Studios in Lunguja, which is, of course, Ruvaga. Lunguja is like the same neighborhood. So that's the first time I ever got into studio. Since then, we've kind of been working to get better and better, bigger and better. The Clear Cut days, through the Talent and Navio days, into where we are now. It's been a long journey. like I say, 35, 40 countries toured representing Ugandan music. Closer to 70 awards now for the music we've put in. And there's just 1,000 stories between here and there that I could mention. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's been an epic journey, and you guys have been on that journey with me, as well as a lot of the sponsors on here as well have been on that journey with me. So, you know, I wouldn't be here without you guys. The fans, all of the fans that are watching, you guys are the ones who fuel us and make us better, man. So thank you guys so much for that. Yeah, so I'm neighborhood Navio, man. You never know what neighborhood you're gonna catch me in.
Yeah, neighborhood Navio. All right, so I feel like, honestly speaking, Timothy Cord is here. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Navio gives the best interviews. Every time you come to the show, best interviews, always very professional, fun, and name it, everything in between. So we've really witnessed your journey because you've actually given us, you know, chance to look into your life. You keep showing up for interviews over time, so most of the things that you say here we probably already know, and everyone is just happy to be part of your journey right now. If you could please tell us a little bit, if there's a story right before Clear Cut, I'd like you to start there and then bring us all here. If you could just like tell us Navio in terms of the music, what's the story?
I think Navio, pre-Clear Cut or around the Clear Cut days, was more of a hype man. That's what people don't know or realize. I was never the most lyrical or the most nothing's changed. No, but I was never the most talented in the group. But I knew I had to represent for the guys that were in the group with me. So yeah, there may have been times where I ran on stage and I would just shout the whole time, "Get your hands up, put your hands down, lefty, righty, hands in the air." But I knew that I had to get better, and I knew there had to be more substance with what I do. And I had very good teachers in KUT Clear Cut to kind of get my rhymes together and have me become, you know, the battle MC that gets respect from Kenya to Nigeria to South Africa, to become that MC who is able to travel around and be known on other continents and take selfies in Malaysia, you know, some of the most unexpected places that we get stopped, you know, by people on the continent and off the continent to take selfies. So
You care about the community, and just to throw you to here at the 20 years, we're watching something called Project X on NBS television. And while I was watching one of the episodes, I realized one thing, that you're digging into culture, into tradition, into people. And I really strongly believe that the biggest tourist attraction that we have in Uganda is actually the people, not necessarily the animals. So that gets me to my question. How important is community to you, and what exactly are you doing with Project X?
yeah, I mean, community is huge. For me personally, I think I never really put it at the forefront at times when I should have. But I think even from the Clear Cut days, you know, we had one of the biggest tours around to raise awareness, AIDS awareness. And this is like back in 2002, 2003. We were part of the, you know, a lot of those big pushes for awareness. Of course, everybody knows I'm in and out of the refugee camps a lot, you know, and that's just from my own experience, you know, having this displaced between here and, you know, Kenya during the Civil War and stuff. So people know about that as well. Off the ground as well, people with disabilities, we work, you know, hand in hand with them. Women's empowerment programs, so many over the years. Child education programs, girls' child education programs, alongside Rahu and the crew. Really, I'd say that if, you know, people always like, oh, you give 150% of your time to music, but I'd say if I have 100%, 30% of my time is probably dedicated to that community outreach. But I don't really talk about it. It's not really at the forefront of what people want to know about Navio. That's more of a Luama Daniel thing. But it is very important. And of course, you know, I see Baba in the building as well. You know, he's all about community. And we've had talks and stuff over the years. I think there's a mutual respect for what we do above the line, below the line, in the hood, out the hood. For projects we've been a part of. I think any hip hop or anyone who's involved in hip hop from our days, whether it's the Sylvester's, Abrams, Baba, us guys, Clear Cut, it's something that came with the hip hop responsibility, and that's the difference between us and a lot of genres. The community is part of what we do.
I thank you so much, because when we're celebrating Navio, as much as I would like to keep it completely to the music, I told you that you're very inspirational in terms of people who just love the rap culture or the music entertainment industry. It kind of, you know, tells you that do this, but you also got to do this. You have to check yourself. You have to always look dapper. You have to look clean. You have to, you know, go out there and represent us. In that spirit, you mentioned of Baba Luku. It's good to have you in the building. And yeah, thank you for your community contributions. Lyrical G is also in here. So if you came to celebrate Navio, you know the vibes. You know, Champion Flex the Paper is in the building as well. Ugandan All-Star, always making sure. And this champion has been filming since Joakali. I don't know, way before that. So he's like, has the whole East Africa, you know, right there on his computer. So
35 years in the game.
yeah,
We're celebrating his 35 years.
I know. Isabel UG, big up on yourself. You know, can't wait to see your blankets and wine. I know you're shutting it down. So we'll definitely have a great time.
Big fan.
Yep. So from your bigger community, like I said before, something I admire about you, and when you're celebrating 20 years of Navio, like you've always put everything out to the public, you know, tell us a little bit about being a rapper and a family man at the same time. How do you, you know, take care of your kids, your family, when you're also here very heavy?
Yeah, I believe that both go hand in hand. None of you know the men and women are in this building right now doing what they do for the sake of their jobs. They're doing it for the sake of family. So I think it's never a competition between family and work. You work for your family. Family for me is the most important thing. And I think that work ethic was, you know, it was kind of early. I had my son is now 14. You know, he's a big boy. He's bigger shoes than me, bigger hands. You know what I mean? So it's beautiful to see them grow and how he's kept me focused. I believe that I had a certain amount of expectations coming in, but when he was born, you know, that really made me reassess how I want to be remembered, and how hard I go. So for me, family and work, they go hand in hand. The expression you see, the creativity, the drive, the consistency that people mention. For me, I get that because I get that reminder every time I go home that I'm not working for me, I'm working for family. So the two go hand in hand.
All right, I've already seen enough videos of people saying that they're coming to the Navio concert, and I'm talking about, you know, big artists, you know, already endorsing that they're coming to party with us. What should, you know, we expect from Navio on the D-Day?
I think this is like what, my ninth show. This for me is 20 years because nothing is guaranteed. We're not guaranteed I'm gonna get a 30 years. We're not guaranteed I'm going to get a 40 years. So for me, this is such a huge milestone. Everything has to be on point, spectacular. And I have to show what, you know, those 70 awards, what those 35, 40 countries that we've toured, what the experiences with different programs, everything from, you know, 1-8 to Twendekazi to, you know, the Channel O nominations, everything from Clear Cut, the days touring around Africa, you know what I mean, from bus, boda to private jet, you know, I gotta show what all of that has taught me. For 2 to 3 hours on a stage, that's how I'm regarding it. So for me, it's life or death, you know what I mean, like everything my brand has built to, everything that we've been coming to, is coming to a head here. But then also at the same time, it's a huge celebration. I made it back from West Africa. I made it back from, you know, Asia and everywhere that I've been. You know, all those awards, I've made it back from there, bringing it home. So now for me, it's like a coming home story. You know what I mean? And this is how it ends. Like, this is the huge celebration. People are coming to party. People are coming to have fun. You know, so yeah, even you know, my closest friends that I've been talking to are like, we're here to celebrate. You know what I mean? As much as, like, you know, everything's going to be running smoothly, the first and foremost, we're here to celebrate and have a good time. So yeah, man, if you know, if you want to be at the craziest party in town, make sure you guys come down, you know, and have a good time. I think it's a safe spot that we've picked. Thank you to Sheraton for providing such a safe dynamic, you know, whether it comes to the VIPs or everyone else who's coming, you know, the regular folk like me. We're all gonna be in the same place, all gonna be safe, all gonna be taken care of, great security. you know, the place is walled in, really nice, and you know, a breezy gardens in Sheraton. Who doesn't want to be in a situation like that? It's very central. I'm really looking forward to the experience.
Right. Also to celebrate NBS Television, NRG, Afromobile, Navco, Pepsi, Max, Kampala, Serena Hotel, FlexiPay, Stanbic Bank, Talent Africa, and Hennessy one time again. Thank you so much for being part of this. After this next question, we'll let questions come from the audience.
Absolutely.
So put together your questions. But this one is, yes, please.
Yes, and also I wanted to mention that. Yeah, we have a book that's coming out October 19th. So all of the experiences that I've learned over this 20 years, we have a book that's coming out. I have my partner that I'm working with on it called Jeffrey Samaganda. I wanted him to say a few words about the project. Yeah, before we get to the questions. And yes.
You wrote a book.
Yes, I've been writing it.
I think the biggest challenge we face in Africa is that we don't value what wealth is. Because 20 years, there's a person behind those 20 years. And one of the reasons we're the most undervalued human beings on the planet, because nobody knows who we are. If you Google him, you're not going to find much. So one of the reasons I'm encouraging every single one of you, especially people like you, people follow, you have to tell us who you are. Where do you come from? What you stand for? Where you're going? How you're getting there? What contributions are you making? Because this is a chapter of your life. There's another chapter. Music ends sometimes, right? But you're still a young man. There's a lot to go. There's so many chapters in his life. His story is incredible. I did the research, asked some young people about Navio. You know what they used to tell me? He's just a rich kid. Doesn't even need the money. What does he do? Well, I've known his mother for the last 15 years. That's how I got to know Navio. His mother is the woman who basically introduced me to him. I did some research on him, the amount of work he puts in. But then I told him that beside the music, how can people in the country across Africa get to know how you do what you do so they can emulate what you do going forward? So many artists have disappeared. So many wealthy individuals in Africa have completely disappeared. We don't know who they are. We don't know what they did. And by the way, if you don't write, don't worry, they'll write for you. The key is, would you want to really be happy with what they say? So every single artist and every single one of you, anything that's not documented doesn't exist. Anything that's not documented doesn't exist. The reason why, I live in the UK, my company is actually publishing that we're helping to do this. One of the reasons really confused me, how come those countries call them wealth countries when the UK borrow £20 billion a month to pay their bills? Why do we call them wealthy? Because they document everything. Here, even people in Uganda, when I come here, they said to me, why are you writing things down? Are you Muzungu? So he has to document. And also beyond documentation, your program is a training program. It's going to be shared all across the country, all across Africa, teaching them what made you who you are, so that you don't die. You see, people don't die as long as they do what? Document. But I leave it with this, especially here in Uganda. My name is Samaganda. What happens here, we don't value documentation. They even call it butabu. They don't invest any time putting it in there. Everywhere I have been is because something needs to speak for me before I show up. That's what you have to do. So all the questions you've asked, every single thing that he hasn't even told you, it's in a document. The partners should partner with him long term, not just for this show. This show is over when? When is September? After that, and then what? Partner within this document because it's going to be ongoing for?
To really inspire the next generation of guys. I believe that we kicked open so many doors, but the problem with kicking open doors is your knee might end up hurt. You know what I mean? So we kicked open so many doors, but it comes at a great cost. And I think the beauty is being able to share that with the people coming up. I think with UNMF and a bunch of things that are happening in the industry right now, there's a huge surge towards how we're going to influence the next generation of artists, how they're going to benefit. And so I think in 20 years, man, I just want to be remembered as a guy, first and foremost, you know, just a Rubaga boy who loved music, loved this country, wanted to explore Uganda, bring that to the people, and wanted the best for his family, man. And you know, as Ugandans, everybody's your family.
I like that. I definitely like that. Thank you so much, Navio. And remember, this 20 years of Navio, we are celebrating the 2nd of September 2023 here at Sheraton Hotel. I hope you will be coming because we're going to be here. All right, if you have any questions, yes, sir. Where's the microphone? Hey, Linda, can you help me with the mic thing? Yeah. So we're picking questions now. Anywhere you are, the mic will get to you, and you get to strike your question to just anybody right in front here.
Hi, my name is Smith from BTM TV. My question, there are 2 or 3 questions. One is, what are your greatest, as a planned kid, what are your greatest, what are your greatest fears?
Okay, let's go one by one.
Yes.
Actually, this is hilarious because my mom did an interview 3 months ago where she told the whole country I was unplanned. They had a boy and a girl, and I came along. But they still love me, so it's okay. So yeah, sorry, as a planned kid, what?
What are your greatest fears, personally and as an artist?
Greatest fears, I don't like past family, I don't really have too many fears. Yeah, family, friends, I fear for other people more than myself. I was raised to be able to handle myself in many situations, so I don't really fear for myself, but yeah, it's just the difference between being a real human being and a role model sometimes, I think is what's expected of us sometimes as artists is very, very broad, you know, and everybody has a bad day. So, yeah, reputation is a big one just because I represent more than myself. I represent the Ugandan people, I represent my fans, you know, every time I step outside, I represent more than myself. So that would be my only fear, but yeah, that's about it.
Okay, yeah, 20 years down the road, what is that one time that you felt like quitting, and why did you feel like that during your 20 years of journey?
Quitting. I feel like when they became a shift to everybody going online, that was one of the moments I thought that maybe things are going to be decided by online. You know, before we even understood it, it seemed like, oh, we're going to do this vote for this awards or that awards, or you get into this, or this is now how big you're going to be. When we started getting attached to a number, statistically, I knew that it was going to be difficult for us in Africa. So that's the first time I was like, wow, you have all these great artists who are so amazing at what they do, but if they don't have the stats to back them up, does that really mean that they're not dope artists anymore? I think that for me was one of the biggest things. The shift to online was a moment where I was like, oh wow, you know, so my ability to freestyle and rap and battle and do whatever I do, where does that now rank in this online world where they're like, Navio, you only have 2 followers? You know, I still don't think it's a good way for us to judge acts and artists, because, and even music videos, stuff like that, you know, I mean, it's not a good way to judge artists, because any big artist will walk out on stage, you know, albeit at Diamond Platinums. In Uganda, Joanita Kawalia will walk out on the same stage, and you'll see what the crowd will do. You know what I mean? But she's not about followers, and she's not about music videos and anything like that. So it's very hard to judge artists. That would be one of the times that I thought, you know, it was going to be, but that was also like 15 years ago. So.
Kale,
I kept going.
Ekisinga, lastly, there have been allegations of your audience being mostly in young kids, school and stuff, and you're doing a concert when kids are coming back for holidays and campus is resuming. Is this proving the fact that that is where your audience lies?
You know what? Me and my team are really bad with calendars. So we usually just do whatever we feel like. I think at this point, whatever date felt good, was what we're going to go with. We're saying to ourselves, we need 3 months, 4 months for the build-up, and this seemed to be the perfect date. I don't think we're very, when it comes to a 20-year, you can't be very particular about the timing. You have to just do it when the, this is when I started, September 2003, so this is when I have to have my concert. So we weren't very particular about the date, but we did announce the date before any of the other shows that are on the date.
I'm JK, I don't know from where, but
the legend.
I do many things. First of all, congrats on the 20 years. It's not easy, 20 years, not just in music, but in business. But celebrating 20 years is such a lovely landmark. So a round of applause for Navio. And I remember 20 years ago, 5 young kids came to me and they said they have a song and I had to play it on Jam Agenda. And the very first hip-hop video was All I Wanna Know. We played it 20 years ago on Jam Agenda, the first ever hip-hop video. And with that, I just want to know, is Juliana going to be part of this? Are the boys coming? Is JB, Papito, are they coming for the 20 years? And also, is Peter Mars going to be around? Because Ruckus was such a wonderful, Ruckus was a classic. And I think we were just talking here, I think you deserve a documentary. So with Simari, we're going to do a documentary for you for 20 years in the game. And there's so many things that you have done,
Full appreciation. Thank you for playing us. If it wasn't for that show, we wouldn't be celebrating anything at all. So no, thank you very much for believing us, man. Though you are also a kid, actually. You are also. Yeah, I planned on even you. Sorry, while we're on the subject, they're planned kids and then they're also international kids. So a lot of the artists that hopefully are going to be able to make it, some of them have to get visas to Uganda even now. Wow. So there are a lot of artists and a lot of collaborations that we've done, but we're going to try and get as much as we can into the show. We had the show down from about 130 songs down to now 50 songs, and we're going to cut that down to fit in for the 2 hours, which is maybe about 25 songs. So we're also having a hard time. Please, members of the press, let us know what songs they want to hear. That'll be very instrumental. Also, remember that Stanbic and FlexiPay are doing some giveaways online as well. They're going to be doing huge promotions. A lot of the sponsors up here will be doing promotions on their page as well for giveaways to those die-hard fans of both Navio and the brands that they represent. So I'm looking forward to all of that. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of action. It is 20 years of Navio. So if it's just me alone, which has never happened, be happy. But no, we have a lot of people coming for this, so I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. I go by the name Crown Boy Timothy Code. I have 2 questions, one for Joquiz and then one for Navio. So we're going to start with Joquiz.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Amazing, thank you.
So we're celebrating Navio, but in a way also celebrating hip-hop. Do you know the 5 elements of hip-hop?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Brother man.
Yeah. No, you've been putting everyone on spot. I just want to
throw the question back to the question, man.
Yo. I'm here thinking, I'm like, where do they learn that from? But if I had to go with guesswork, elements of hip hop.
Yes.
You have to have the message in there, rhythm, rhyme. I'm just thinking for my. It seems like I'm wrong already. So educate us, sir.
No. So there's 5 elements,
Yes.
and something I want to congratulate Navio on for being a part of the 5. MCing, DJ, breakdancing, graffiti, and the knowledge. Now that's the question for Navio. 20 years of Navio, 20 years of knowledge. There's a book, but it's not called a book. There's a documentary on the way. After the concert, what more can we expect from you from a teacher's standpoint? From someone who has, rubbed shoulders with Nas, with Wyclef Jean, with international Burna Boy, with international acts much like yourself. How are we going to get more information out of you from a teacher's standpoint with your wealth of knowledge 20 years plus?
Yeah, good question. I think for me, the easiest way was, first of all, to partner with people like NBS. What I realized is I've met, minus the ones I've collaborated with, I've met most of my heroes at one point or another. Most of the people internationally that have given me drive. And what I realized on my journeys out there was that actually the biggest wealth that we have in terms of music and culture is right here. So as part of my movement to kind of teach guys, of course I'm imparting knowledge by doing the book, you know, and also it's very humble. I'm not saying I know it all, but I'm just saying there's a lane that I chose and these are the mistakes I made. This is how you guys can do it better. But also, you know, with doing stuff like the TV show, we get to highlight, explore Uganda. We get to highlight things that make Uganda great. The culture, the people, the food. We just do fun things. And it's such a beautiful country. With each episode, we're not even trying to script it too much. I literally just go to a city and have a blast. And people are really blown away. They're like, wow, we didn't know that about each other. So I think the first thing I wanted to do, you know, and the reason the show came up first is that's what I want to impart on the people, that we are all a unit as Ugandans. When we get that kind of oneness, you're going to see the same thing that we see in Nigeria. They talk about Nigerians being patriots. I want the same kind of thing for us, where you talk about Karamoja and you know more than one. Hey, those guys who jump. No. There's a lot more to their culture, you know, and that is what the TV show and stuff like that is going to be teaching. So I think from a teacher standpoint, that's what I'm going to be focusing my efforts on, you know, getting the show out, getting information out, letting people know that our culture, our people, our truth is just as relevant as anything that they're learning from outside.
Before the next question, I would like to say, in case you're posting stuff online, use the hashtag 20 years of Navio. The hashtag is 20 years of Navio. All of it, put it together, would be great. And also, you know, remember to keep sharing this content from now on until the concert. Thank you so much. Any more questions? Seems like that's great.
Yo, hey man. Hi. So I have a question. 20 years. What would you say is your most important song from your catalog?
Wow, this guy really is mean.
That's a good question. And why?
I believe that there is only one song in Ugandan history that has put 13 and 14-year-olds on a first-class flight to the biggest award show on the continent. Having lunch with Kofi Olomide here, Oliver Mutukutsi here, Baba Ma, Shalailo Selota, people from all over the continent. So I have to, you know, always shout out All I Want to Know. You know, All I Want to Know, Clear Cut, that's definitely up there. Also, of course, we have, you know, one of the top 3 most played songs of all time in Uganda, you know, which is Bad Man from Kamocha. That was a big one. Hey, man, now with the anger, njagala, guys, you really, please. The most important one. I think, for me, I'm going to say Ngalo. I had been, it's the first song of Half the Legend, and I had been sitting in school watching Peter Miles get all that ruckus money alone.
Are you serious?
So the rage I came out of school with, the anger to want to excel. After doing well in my exams, kids, I also did well in my exams first. I think that was really evident, and me just coming out with Bugumu, Ngalo, all of those songs back to back, I think it really just caught it was a snapshot into, you know, where I wanted to take hip-hop music, and the fact that hip-hop music could be released in such a pure form, or pure enough, you know, and still make it relevant and still be on every single chart. So yeah, that was a big one for me.
Yes, sir?
Yeah, I just have one here. When I met you, Navio, you convinced me that you were the only maybe African artist who is thinking about writing a book. You really gave me a story that made me actually look at you completely differently.
Yeah, I lied.
To the person. So, so can you tell the world why are you doing this?
I think for me, writing the book is a responsibility. You have to understand. All of us here are of a certain age. When you're a 13, 14, 15-year-old kid, the oldest guy in Clear Cut was 15. We had absolutely no roadmap, no advice. Even the artists who had done it before had kind of gone into DJing. It was the Wild West out here. So the Steve Jeans and the D&D Slams and the guys in our days, the DJ Berries, they were also trying to figure it out. So we had absolutely no reference point. And for me, it's like basketball. They taught me how to shoot. In 2 years, I was winning dunking competitions. All I need is a seed, you understand? So I think for me, the one most important thing is just giving people a seed that they can structure their tree with, that they can go and plant a whole tree. Because I know that what I did with just small pieces of advice from the myth and, guys in my own group and my brother, like just small tiny piece of advice, Ali, that tiny seed can lead to a whole, the tour of Europe. A tiny seed can lead to an amazing award-winning album. A tiny seed can lead to you doing community outreach and totally dedicating your life to being a community activist. You know what I mean? So those tiny seeds, I feel, is why I'm writing the book. There's going to be advice in there that people are like, this is obvious. Some advice that people will be like, oh, I didn't think of this. Interested in going at all. But I think definitely affecting change. So whether or not I'm on just a platform that I've built already, affecting some sort of change for the people, the day-to-day lives of Ugandans, for me, is paramount. Because it just so happens my kids are here, my nephews, my nieces, they're still here. You know what I mean? So we need to make a move for the better. One, just from the sake of even like pride. You know what I mean? A lot of people, I get praised for, sometimes they're like, oh yeah, man, it's so, I prefer it when you do your English rap and whatnot. I'm like, that's great. If I was as astute as some of my peers, I would be doing a lot more Luganda rap. But I know what I'm good at. But I can still represent myself. And I can still represent Uganda doing what I do. I know I can, because knowledge is free, knowledge is everywhere. And people watch Avengers in different languages anyway. So, what I mean? We'll always have people to translate. Thank you to the guys downtown. Shout out to the guys translating our movies as well. No. So yeah, for me, the most important thing will be affecting change. Just for the people in my circle, people doing music, but Ugandans at large, man. I think that will be the biggest takeaway. And I'm starting to make moves towards that. There's no end game of profitability for me writing a book right now. Getting on and having this deal with NBS, it really, in terms of my career and my legacy, it doesn't change anything. But I want to impart that knowledge. I want to let people who follow me, who they say are plant kids or cool kids, I want to let them know that they can respect culture. You know what I mean? So I'm in there, I'm dancing with the troops, the local guys, I'm sampling the local cuisine, because that's what makes us African. Yeah, so some pride. I had an album called Pride, some pride in our African culture and the beauty of that. Getting people to really appreciate it for the next generation would be good.
Thank you so much. Any more questions? If we do not have any more questions,
Feel and carry that Africa, done nothing but battle defeat until right now, had to keep my battles discreet. I'm branded African, hold my eyes as my receipt. African rhythm, see how I bump my head to the beat. They can take me, they can't do nothing about my African fleet. We're original to death. You see how my Africans speak, African speech. Do it with my African tongue. Love breathing African air in these African lungs. African hands, not to mention African grip. African smiles, not to mention African lips. There's more to Africa than how some Africans spit. There's more beauty to be found besides African hips. Even if you came, all you touch is the African tip. Think you piss, wait till you see one of my Africans flip. I'm African, I'll be African till there's no one left. African, right up until my African death.
Yes, sir. All right, so who's next? flex in life, flex. All right. So respect, we say culture, and when we do culture, you know what I mean, we've been heavy on making sure that the languages stay alive.
Amen.
You know what I mean? So we're gonna do something in Luganda right quick. Njagala